Hey everybody! Let me move this a little bit. How are y'all today? So, have you noticed my personal development time is not set in stone? I usually try to get up in the morning and do it. That doesn't necessarily mean I have time to share it back out with you, nor does it mean I get ready before work. So, today though, if you caught well, maybe I shared it with the team, so I might not have come on here and done it live. Last night we were going to record some episodes for Music and Mascara because the same content we're talking about here is turning into content that we're going to use for Music and Mascara. So we get ready and we record the intro that I think we're releasing today. So we did the intro because we're going to kind of cover a series, because between what Dylan is doing in his personal development and what I'm doing in my personal development is kind of creating its own subject matter. So we're going to pull them together and create content. Anyway, we get ready to produce this content. It had already been delayed. We ended up having to buy an external hard drive, and we were trying to move some files over because there's a lot of video that goes down here, and there's a lot of files we want to save and content that we'll probably reuse, and you don't want to give it up, right? So we needed some storage. We needed to eat dinner, and then we come home and we're trying to move files, and then he had a customer call, and life happens. So when we sit down to record, we don't have a backup battery. So we postponed it again. So we decided we're going to get up early this morning to shoot the video, which also encourages me. I'm not a morning person, y'all. Encourages me to get up, and I have to get ready, right? So I went ahead and did my personal development. So we're having some coffee today. But it gave me time to go ahead and share what I was reading today. So again, I'm reading this book. It's all about connecting with your audience, whether that's one-on-one, in a group, or if you have an audience. And if you're sharing things on Facebook Live, that is an audience. So be aware that an audience is everywhere. If you're producing some kind of content, that's your audience. So today I want to talk about you're connecting with others. It has to be intentional. Like, you have to bring, hey Brittany, you have to bring energy to the playing field, and that is a decision you have to make. You cannot kind of do it, not feel it. You have to be engaged, and you have to bring that energy. And one of the things that really struck me today, we're going to talk about some points, but I shared a little meme yesterday, right, about introverts versus extroverts. I didn't see a lot of people comment. I was curious as to, it was just a great little illustration about like the simplicity of introvert versus extrovert, right? And I shared, it was actually a reshare. I think it came up on my Time Hop, and I was wanting people to respond like, which one are you? Are you an introvert or an extrovert? And then which one did you think I was? So I only saw one person respond, but strange enough, one of the things that I read this morning was about the same subject. Because I hear a lot of times people say, whether it's making videos or going live, people are like, I can't do that. I can't do what you do. Or meeting people, being out and about, they're just like, I freeze up. I can't do it. And that's okay. That is a personality thing, and it's practice. If you practice, you get better at things like that. So it was interesting. They were saying introverts can exhibit extroverted behavior, but they'll just need extra time to recharge because it's very draining. And basically the premise even of the meme I shared yesterday and talking about this today is extroverts, we think about it as personality, like extroverts are very outgoing, right? Is what I always thought it meant, and that introverts were more reserved. So I always thought I was an extrovert. because I'm not shy. Not shy at all. You're an outgoing introvert. Yes, I am too, actually. So that's funny. Brittany like nailed it before I even had to say it. So an introvert means like you don't like people. Like that's what I always thought growing up. And truly it's more about the energy required. So extroverts are energized by groups of people and being around other people, and they really enjoy that. Whereas introverts are drained when they're in groups of people, and they need like quiet time to not shy at all, and they need quiet time to build their energy back up. So I'm the same thing, Brittany. I am an outgoing introvert. I definitely, without going into detail, being in crowds of people, it's not intimidating to me. It's not that I don't like it, but it exhausts me. Really exhausts me. It took me a while to figure that out. But I'm not shy. I love to talk to people. Obviously we go out a lot, because of the music side of what we do, but that's definitely something I had to understand and learn about myself. On top of I like to go to bed at a decent time, and I'm not a morning person, I didn't realize what was exhausting me, and that's what it is. So we want to talk about what it takes to connect. So connect, I get it from my mama. That I'm not shy at all. Yeah, it comes honest for sure. And I don't have a filter on my mouth, and I say things before I stop, like before my brain has time to be like, you shouldn't say that. Yeah, that's broke too sometimes. Anyway, thanks for calling me out, Brandy. So obviously I've known Brandy a very long time, and she knows my mother. So anyway. So let's talk about connecting requires blank, okay? Or that might be Rob. No, are y'all not sharing a Facebook anymore? Brandy's husband knows. My mama too. Anyway. Long lost twin. That's funny. Love you too, Brandy. Alright, so let's talk about connecting requires blank. And we're going to talk about 5 things, like what is required to connect, because we're talking about, this time today we're going to talk about the energy needed to connect. It's Brandy. Thanks. So first thing, and this is so funny that, I just talked about the introvert extrovert. That came up for me yesterday. Another thing that came up yesterday, Dylan and I were discussing, initiative and like making the decision to just do it and go first, and that is the first thing that came up for me in my personal development today. So going first, and making that decision, waiting on somebody else to make a first move or to do the first thing is simply a missed opportunity. And this was speaking loud to me, y'all, because I am terrible. I don't like to go out of my way. I don't like to put somebody on the spot. I don't like to make somebody feel uncomfortable. So a lot of times if they don't approach me, I just let it go. So if I switch my brain to think about that being a missed opportunity, that is kind of huge for me. And I really liked this quote. If you wait until you can do everything for everybody instead of something for somebody, you'll end up not doing anything for anybody. I mean, how crazy is that? And it's true. We're never, perfect moments are never there. We're never fully ready for anything. We talk about that in the context of, having kids. You're never going to be ready for kids. You're never going to afford kids. But it is appropriate for so many other things in life. It is appropriate for me in learning this stuff. I learn and learn and learn, and then I want to learn more about something, and then I fail to share. So being able to share like this is perfect for me, and it gets these thoughts out of my head. Another thing that was really funny to me about initiative, I love your light natural look today. Yeah, that's called I had to get up early and do something, right? So anyway, funny thing to me is the next quote that I saw, and I don't know what changed or if values of a founder just don't make it down to the day-to-day people in a company. So it's a quote by Sam Walton. So if you know who Sam Walton is, you know the company I'm talking about. And he has this thing that he shares called a 10-foot rule. Okay? And this is what the 10-foot rule says. From this day forward, I solemnly promise and declare that every time a customer comes within 10 feet of me, I will smile, look him in the eye, and greet him. And that is what he wanted to share. Like, that is something that he wanted his people to follow. I don't know where that got lost in translation, but I really like that. And making eye contact with somebody, no matter where you're at, and just, you know, taking the time to speak to somebody and take that initiative and not miss those opportunities, y'all. So the first one is initiative. You want to go first. Like, don't wait. The second one is clarity and to be prepared. So you have to know yourself. You have to be clear on what it is, and you can't give anything you don't have. So, you know, when we're talking about, keep tying this all together. We're talking about connecting with people means keeping the other person in mind first. So you can't just like spit knowledge or stuff on people. You have to know who they are and to know what you have to offer them. So clarity about yourself and what you have to offer so that you communicate with that person in the right way. And that in turn also includes knowing your audience. So you have to ask the questions and you have to understand why they might be interested or how you can help them. We talk about that, right? And just make sure you know your stuff, because people will know when you're talking about something you don't know anything about, or they'll ask a question and they'll get you. And it's okay, just be honest. I have no problem ever admitting, I don't care in what context it is, I will never just tell you something to tell you something. If I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. It doesn't mean I won't find out and I won't do all the research and I won't be better prepared if that question ever presents itself to me again, but I have no problem telling you if I don't know something. And I'll also, in turn, a pet peeve of mine, so y'all are learning a lot about me here, right? A pet peeve of mine is when somebody, let's say I ask you a question and you give me an answer, I'm assuming that's the answer. Like, I'm trusting you to give me the answer because that's what I asked for. But if it's your opinion, I expect you to tell me it's your opinion. So don't present something that's your opinion as fact. I'll tell you that too. Like, if you ask me something, I'll be like, well, here's what I think and here's why. But I'll tell you that's my opinion. I'm not sure, like I'll try to find the fact for you, but that's my opinion. Or my opinion may be based on a fact that I can't remember the wording to, but I'm still going to tell you that's my opinion. So just be honest and know what you're talking about. The third thing that connecting requires is patience. You have to slow down, y'all. Like, everything we do in this world is so fast-paced. Like, we want immediate gratification. We, like, drive-thrus are so popular, and, like, order and pick up is so popular. But if you don't slow down to actually connect with people and to talk with people, I mean, again, that's missed opportunities, right? So, also, we're talking about this, majority of you watching and that will watch this are probably a part of my team or a part of another team because of the people that I reach. So I want you to know too that the good connectors, so the people truly connecting with people, are not the ones that run the fastest, but the ones that are able to take others with them. So a quote here: the man who goes alone can start the day, but he who travels with another must wait until the other is ready. And that's a Thoreau quote. And And it just goes back to, so what I hear in that is we always talk about build leaders. So build other leaders, help someone reach their goals, and it's going to help you reach your goal. This is the same concept, y'all. If you are connecting with people and helping them and understanding where they want to be, slowing down to help them is going to help you in the long run. So just be mindful of that. I really like that today. And then 4, connecting requires selflessness and giving. This is simply the same thing we've talked about the last few days, is that you have to begin whatever with somebody else in mind. Whether that's another person, your group, your audience, whoever you were trying to connect with at that time, you have to go in that you're going to give them something. It's not about you. It's never about you, right? When you're sharing an opportunity with somebody, it's about them. It's when you're sharing a product, you know, you cannot go in. We talk about this a lot. We talk about this in Music and Mascara too. You're not selling a product. You are filling a need for somebody. What is that need? So just make sure you're giving and you're listening, because you have to hear from that other person to even know what you have to give them, right? And then 5, and this kind of ties back into the little discussion we had about introvert versus extrovert. Connecting requires stamina, which also means you have to recharge. So you need to be aware of what it takes to recharge your batteries, whether that means whatever, fill in the blank, quiet time, a nap, reading, a massage, I don't know, music, whatever that is. And it's going to be different for everybody. I can't tell you what that is for you. But here's another thing I thought was very interesting. So the whole fear of public speaking, like, I knew that was a common thing. It's not something I've ever had. Even when I was young, like, I had no problem getting in front of people. Like, whatever I needed to do, it just had to be done, is kind of my attitude. Like, if you have to get up in front of the class, it didn't matter. So, which is good, I guess, since I ended up being a trainer and I was in front of people all the time. But anyway, so public speaking is actually listed as the #1 fear. I mean, that sounds crazy to me. So if public speaking is #1, the only other numbers they gave out, because, I mean, like, fear of dying should be a thing, right? Apparently that's #5. And then loneliness is #7. So more so than the fear of being alone or even dying alone, people are scared of public speaking. And I don't mean to laugh, like, to dismiss that. It's more so like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know it was that relevant. You know, you hear it in context of when it's going to happen. So I guess I didn't realize it was such an overwhelming fear. You know, if you're in speech class and people are talking about fear of public speaking, it makes sense. Guess what? They know they're going to have to publicly speak. So it's part of the conversation. I guess I didn't realize it was such an encompassing thing. So fear is powerful, and a lot of, you know, we talk about getting in the way of yourself. Like, you yourself will get in the way of your success more so than anything else, and fear is a part of that. And it sounds crazy to think about, but people fear success because they fear stuff that's different. They fear the unknown. They fear, are people going to think they're a fraud? They fear, do people want to hear what they have to say? Are, you know, just crazy. So again, you get in the way of your own success. Don't forget that. So make sure you're taking care of yourself, that you're recharging your batteries, whatever that means. And in turn with that, identify what, all right, so there's something, I don't know, maybe you have to do it on a daily basis, something that you hate, something that you dread, something that you don't want to do, something that when you're, you know, maybe you haven't even identified it yet. Are there some days where you're just like really, really exhausted, whether that's physically or mentally, and you just need to pinpoint what that is, because you need to figure out You know, we need to work with our strengths, and we have to figure out what drains us of our energy, and avoid that, because if we don't have any energy ourselves, then we don't have any energy to give others to connect with them. So be mindful of that. Um, Whatever that is. I mean, some people, let's see, I can't think of an example right now. Like, Dylan hates website development. He also doesn't really like typing, and we can work on that together. And I've offered to type some of the things he's working on. What else? I can't think of anything. But find out what you don't like and avoid it. Whatever that is, whether it's... I had an example earlier. I should have wrote it down, y'all. I don't know. I can't think of it right now. But just identify those things. You know, if you hate housework and it's worth whatever it costs to bring somebody else in so that you can focus on what you're good at. You have to focus on your strengths. So even, you know, delegate, you know, share things. You can share responsibilities. You know, there's some people that are really good about creating content. There's some people that are really good at videos. There's some people who are really good at making fun little memes. You know, these are silly examples that maybe you use in your business, but, you know, if you're doing business online, but just take advantage of what your strengths are and couple them with other people's strengths and work together, because that in itself is a form of connecting with others. You know, being able to work with somebody is a skill, and that can definitely, you know, help you as well. And if you avoid things that drain you of energy, that just gives you more energy that you can give to somebody else. So just be aware of that as well. You know, coupled with taking the time to recharge is also notice what is just draining you. And the last thing I want to say, we're talking about this energy and bringing energy to the table, and energy is required for connecting, is kind of the theme for today. But I do not want you to confuse. Energy doesn't mean volume or speed. So it doesn't mean be loud. It doesn't mean be the fastest. It is simply like the true energy needed to connect with those people. Again, it doesn't mean you have to be the loudest in the room, whether you're a musician or you talk in a group. You don't have to be the loudest in the room, nor do you have to be the fastest, because you heard the quote we talked about earlier. You need to go along at the pace with whoever you're bringing along on the journey with you. So it's not about being the fastest either. So keep that in mind. I appreciate y'all watching and join me. So day 4, y'all. I laughed yesterday. I was like, oh, look at my hair. I laughed yesterday. I was like, guess what? 3 days in a row. I was like, how many days does it take to create a habit? And before I could even spit out, because I was going towards the whole 21 thing, right? And Dylan's like, more than 3. So now it's 4. It's more than 3. Does that mean I made it? No. Anyway, I really hope that this is helping you. It is helping me. It is making me think. It is helping me dive more into the personal development that I'm doing, you know, because I'm reading this book, I'm taking notes, and then I'm getting to share it back out. So it's making me even think about the notes that I wrote down. So it's been very beneficial to me. I hope that it's beneficial to you, again, because I do tell you personal development is key. So I hope this gives you an opportunity to take some personal development time. Maybe if you weren't able to make time before, or didn't know how to make time before, or didn't know how to have these conversations with yourself about what you're reading or sharing. I hope these conversations help. I got a message. I don't think I've officially opened it yet. I did get a message last night from somebody who took the initiative to purchase the same book that I'm reading, because they want to follow along and be able to share their takeaways from the same book that I'm going through right now, sharing this personal development. So that is really exciting, because I would definitely love to hear thoughts or other ideas. And I guarantee you they're going to be different, y'all, because we're all at a different place in our journey. You know, I can read this book today And I can read this book next year and it's going to mean something totally different to me, because that is the definition of personal development. You're always growing. You know, if you are satisfied with what you did last year or something you wrote last year, if any of you are writers, you know, I can go back and read what I wrote last year and I already know that I could write it better. So make sure you're always growing. That is personal growth. It doesn't negate what I did before, but I should always be getting better, right? So keep that in mind. I do hope it's helping. I hope you're enjoying the personal development time, and I think it's allowing you to get to know me a little bit better. I don't know that I fully thought about that in the first place. I'm okay with that though. I'm a pretty open person. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. If you are watching the replay of this and you have any questions, you're welcome to post them below. I look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.